Hello, I'm Bracken Clark, executive producer for Focus Black Oklahoma. This is a podcast-only special release of Focus Black Oklahoma. Here, we collect our coverage to date of the alleged misconduct at the Tulsa Family Center for Juvenile Justice, or FCJJ. For more information on these allegations, check back with us during September's broadcast. Meantime, check out Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice's report titled Heinous Allegations, Abuses in Youth Custody in Tulsa County, Oklahoma at okapple.org/investigation-into-abuses-in-Tulsa-county-juvenile. Thanks for listening.
This is Focus Black Oklahoma.
I'm Jacob Littlebear. The Tulsa County Family Center for Juvenile Justice, or FCJJ, was raided on Friday morning, July 12th. Investigators with several law enforcement agencies spent an entire day and night removing boxes and electronic equipment from the center, located at 500 West Archer Street in Tulsa.
Dozens of law enforcement officers from several agencies descended on the Tulsa County Juvenile Center Friday morning at 8:30. Several hours later, well into the evening, they were still there, bringing boxes of evidence and even some electronics out of the building. The Tulsa County Sheriff's Office, Homeland Security, and Tulsa Police were all involved in the search.
Investigators have begun working under a warrant issued by the Tulsa Police Department with the goal of finding evidence related to 2 recent arrests of FCJJ staff and a federal lawsuit filed in May of this year. The lawsuit was filed in the Federal District Court for the Eastern District of Oklahoma on behalf of 20 victims who are residents of the facility and suffered sexual abuses and neglect.
Keep in mind, this is not an old facility, right? Like the FCJJ is fairly new, had issues apparently very quickly, almost from the jump.
Since the center opened in 2019, the State Office of Juvenile Affairs, or OJA, has found numerous violations at the regular inspections of the FCJJ. Violations including children being detained for too long, improper use of physical restraint methods, inadequate access to medicine, and children not being enrolled in school have been reported every year the FCJJ has been open. The OJA has warned the FCJJ that unless conditions improve significantly by the end of July, its contract could be terminated.
My approach to leadership is just completely different. I don't think that if you can't sign your name on a line and change something immediately, if you don't have that power to do it with a stroke of a pen, that doesn't mean to me, oh, not my responsibility. No, I don't have anything to do with that. That means, okay, now you know that the community needs something. You represent 230,000 people. That is a ton of folks at your side to go and say, I'm going to keep coming here and asking questions. My community wants to know about this. They want to know what's happening. I represent a third of this county. So whether it is like the district judge, Kevin Gray, who they keep pointing fingers at because he has the hiring and firing authority at the Family Center for Juvenile Justice, well, he represents the whole county. He's a county judge. He got elected by the whole county. Well, one voter emailing him or calling his office and saying, I've got a problem with this, that carries wildly different weight than one county commissioner who's calling and emailing or showing up at the office saying, hey, I represent 230,000 Tulsa County residents, and like, what the hell is going on?
That was Sarah Gray, no relation to District Judge Kevin Gray. She is running for the Tulsa County Board of Commissioners District 2 seat vacated by Karen Keith, who left to join Tulsa's mayoral race. We reached out to the other candidates in the District 2 race, Maria Barnes, Melissa Myers, and Lonnie Sims, for comment. Barnes did not respond in time for this broadcast, while neither Myers nor Sims responded to our request. We also reached out to Karen Keith, who has also not responded to our request. Here is Sarah Gray again.
Now we know, with all of the open records requests that have been fulfilled, shout out to Oklahoma Appleseed for doing all that legwork. Now we know for, I think it's 12 to 18 months or so, they've been getting consistent reports saying, and no, none of those things were about sex trafficking or rape or sexual allegations, but they were still serious allegations, like kids not getting fed enough, kids not getting let out of their rooms enough, kids not getting appropriate schooling, all of these things that are very serious things.
Tulsa Police Captain Richard Muhlenberg said to local reporters that these recent arrests are just one step in a long process and that this investigation could take months or even years to complete.
We've arrested 2 people and the problem solved. We don't know that. So we have to really go and see and look at the entirety of the situation to make sure that the prosecutions that need to happen, and then we protect these kids and future kids.
According to a statement by current Tulsa County Commissioners on Thursday, July 11th, the FCJJ has been placed back on probationary status, and District Judge Kevin Gray was asked to be relieved of his duties supervising the facility.
So remember that part about being our citizens and developing the situation. I think everyone in this room should pay really close attention to the timing of when everything has happened and the timing of what I'm about to tell you. While we've been sitting here, Judge Gray, who, if you remember from when he spoke, they've asked him to be removed from his position. The county commissioners have. He issued a statement while we've all been sitting in this room where he is clarifying what's been going on.
Although most elected officials haven't been speaking out on the issues facing the FCJJ, Sarah Gray addresses how this election season will help voters gain some clarity on how those running will respond if elected.
At first, I was really frustrated. I was thinking this election is happening and we've got this huge issue that's coming up and no one's going to talk about it. And it's going to be so difficult to get people to engage with this because of the election. They're going to be completely silent because of their elections. And then the more I thought, I was like, wait a second, this is actually like a blessing in disguise for it to come to light. Now we have a bigger mirror to hold up, right? We have a bigger ability to build general knowledge about the issue that we wouldn't have if it wasn't an election season. It'd be harder to get these things rolling. But now it's all happening during election season. And so my perspective has shifted. If not for the election season, we probably could still get some kind of accountability. With it being the election season, we have an opportunity to come in and make sweeping change, cultural change that can actually really, really help these kids.
On Thursday, July 11th, a town hall was organized by the Appleseed Center for Law and Justice at the Greenwood Cultural Center in Tulsa. The first 2 rows of seating were reserved for 20 local elected officials who had been invited to the event. Only Representative Monroe Nichols from Oklahoma's 72nd District, who is also a Tulsa mayoral candidate, was present.
These are the stories of even more. We learned this in 2 months. And for the empty chairs here to say we didn't know about it until a couple of weeks ago is bull. It's in black and white. They knew what was going on. I don't want to hear, I didn't know, and it's not my fault, and it's not my responsibility. How many kids have to get hurt for you to care? How many kids have to get raped for you to care? Apparently not 20, because I see several empty seats of people who are responsible and aren't here. How many children have to be hurt for us to care? No more. I'm part of the firm, I work for Smolin Law, and we are the law firm that filed the federal lawsuit that is currently ongoing. I know Colleen and Appleseed wanted me to talk about the status of the lawsuit and the litigation. It is in its very early stages. So literally about a week ago, we released a second amended complaint, which added 10 additional victims and several additional defendants, again, some of whom are names that I'm reading on these chairs.
Again, here's Sarah Gray.
Elections are easy to start looking on the dark side for sure. But I think that there is so much good to be done in this moment in time where a change of leadership is possible. And it's not just possible, it is impending, it's coming. I think that we can actually do something that's going to make a huge difference. And I'm excited about that. I'm nervous. I want us to do it. I'm not trying to get my heart broken here, but I'm feeling confident at least that we have it within reach. We just got to get up on our tippy toes and get there. And I'm just excited that people care, because for a while I felt like it was just me and Oklahoma Appleseed screaming into the void. I was so frustrated because I'm we got to talk about this. We are going to talk about this right now, because what is the other option? We just stay quiet while kids are being harmed, detained children are being harmed. That's wild to me. to not see this as a layup issue for Republicans, Democrats, everybody to get behind. Like, we should all be able to agree that kids should all be protected, but especially detained children. Like, they have no family. They get 2 phone calls a week.
If your child has been hurt by any type of child abuse or trauma, contact Family and Children's Services at 918-587-9471. Oklahoma state law requires every person, private citizen, or professional who has reason to believe that a child under the age of 18 is a victim of abuse or neglect to immediately report the matter to the Department of Human Services. If you believe a child is being abused or neglected, call the Abuse and Neglect Hotline at 1-800-522-3511.
You're listening to Focus Black Oklahoma. One of the most controversial issues that local candidates have been weighing on is the federal investigation surrounding allegations of physical and sexual abuse at the Tulsa County Juvenile Detention Facility. A Focus Black Oklahoma investigation looks into a potential conflict of interest regarding an Oklahoma City-based company hired by Karen Keith's mayoral campaign with ties to the State Office of Juvenile Affairs. Among the issues being debated on the Tulsa mayoral campaign trail are the allegations against staff of the Tulsa County Family Center for Juvenile Justice, or FCJJ. One of the candidates for mayor of Tulsa, Karen Keith, has served as one of 3 Tulsa County Commissioners since 2008. Keith has touted the building of the FCJJ, which opened in 2019 in downtown Tulsa, as one of her great achievements as commissioner. Here's Karen Keith at the Mayoral Forum at the University of Tulsa on August 1st.
I am the only candidate sitting up here who has had experience with both the city and the county, and I have brought millions of dollars to this community. You all know that I've done work on the levees. I have worked to create a new family justice center for us. And I love this city, and I feel like we built a fantastic facility, and I'm very proud of it.
And again at the mayoral debate at Kane's Ballroom on August 8th, where she talks about the facility and the Office of Juvenile Affairs, or OJA.
First of all, I am proud it is a world-class facility, but I think you should also know that we found out about this at the same time that you did, and I am appalled and heartbroken at what is going on there, because nobody has worked harder to do right by our young people in this community. And there is a lot of misinformation about what happened and what is happening in that facility. So here are some facts I want to share with you. For 50 years, the district judges have run our facility under the supervision of another state agency, the OJA. And we found out about those latest allegations at the same time that you did. And I will say this, we got a letter from the judge saying, I don't want to do this anymore. We have taken it over, and it's not something we want to do forever, but we have to do what is in the best interests of the children. OJA is in there with us every day. And just yesterday, we got a report that they are very pleased with how things are going, and one of them even said, hey, Mr. Parker's kind of cool. So that some of the kids said that. So it's a big job. There's a lot of work to do, but we are committed to doing right by these kids. OJA has been in there just about every single day, and we are getting good reports. We're moving the needle, and I look forward to getting an equilibrium back in this facility and hopefully turning it back over to the district judges and a judge who will want to do the job.
Judge Kevin Gray, who had been responsible for running the FCJJ, circulated a letter of resignation on the evening of July 11th at the same time as a town hall meeting at the Greenwood Cultural Center, hosted by the nonprofit organization Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. For more on this story, listen to our coverage in last month's show. Following Judge Gray's resignation, the county commissioners voted to assume control of the facility and hire Oklahoma Department of Corrections Director David Parker. While the job description posted by Tulsa County for the position of FCJJ Director clearly states that the person for this position must have experience working in a juvenile facility, Parker's resume shows no such experience.
Adding to the complication of these changes is the question of just who is accountable, following repeated allegations regarding the abuse of children in the facility by FCJJ staff. KJRH reporter Aaron Christie investigated this bureaucratic entanglement and came away with more questions than answers. We hear Christie and then Oklahoma Appleseed Executive Director Colleen McCarty.
Now to the problems ongoing at the Juvenile Detention Center. While two former employees of the Tulsa County Family Center for Juvenile Justice are now charged with sex crimes against minors, and a civil lawsuit alleges a web of corruption at the facility, county officials are remaining silent. And I found out the entire design makes it easy to pass the buck. If you ask who is in charge of the FCJJ, don't expect a simple answer.
There's no one really solely responsible for what goes on there.
So the funding is supervised by the Tulsa County Juvenile Trust Authority, but it has no authority over the operations. And then some money and other legal stuff is also the responsibility of county commissioners. The Tulsa County Juvenile Chief Judge is in charge of the hiring and firing, but only of one person, the facility's director. And then there's a state agency, the Office of Juvenile Affairs. It inspects and licenses the facility. Now, currently, the district attorney's office is handling open records requests about the facility, and that's the same office prosecuting two of the employees.
Can you explain to me how that's not a conflict of interest for the district attorney to be prosecuting these cases?
Just this year, the FCJJ got a permanent license. The OJA attorney did not recommend it. Documents state he sent a letter to 13 county officials urging probation. The OJA apparently went against their own attorney's advice.
And there's no real explanation about that decision in the records that we got.
Focus Black Oklahoma investigators have uncovered an additional potential conflict of interest between Karen Keith's campaign and the board of directors of the OJA. Candidates for public office in Tulsa, that's the mayor, the city auditor, and 9 city councilors, are required to file campaign contribution reports on a quarterly basis to the Tulsa City Clerk's office at City Hall. The most recent campaign contribution report, received by the Tulsa City Clerk's office for the second quarter of 2024, reveals a payment to James Martin Company, a political consulting firm based in Oklahoma City, dated May 23rd, in the amount of $10,805.90. The report shows that up until June 30th, James Martin Company received $54,803.49. The founder and CEO of James Martin Company is Jenna Worthen, who also serves on the board of the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs.
I think, first of all, getting the right people at the table to figure out how we make this better, that should have never happened. And I can't imagine that it's gone on this long. It's taken all these lawsuits and so forth to bring it to light. So shame on somebody for not doing something. And when you make a mistake, own it. You know, these are young kids. And regardless of why they're in there, this should never happen to them.
That was Maria Barnes. She is running for the District 2 County Commission seat, which was vacated by Keith. Barnes continues.
Why run for the job if you're not willing to get out there and help? So the folks at the top should be the ones that are liable. That's just it. You can't have somebody at the top who continues to sweep it under the rug.
Sarah Gray is also running to fill the District 2 seat vacated by Keith.
We've been calling for months now for the Attorney General's office to take over and conduct an investigation of this facility.
Gray has been vocal about the issues at FCJJ.
We've been calling for months for the facility to be shut down pending the results of that investigation. Neither of those things have happened. And now we know, because of public records, Karen Keith's campaign filed their ethics filing, which shows how did you raise your money, from who did you raise your money, and what did you spend it on. So now we know that Karen has directly paid a sitting board member of the Oklahoma Juvenile Authority nearly $55,000. And that board member is married to the chief of staff of the Attorney General of Oklahoma. So you can like Karen Keith, you can respect her, you can be grateful for her nearly 2 decades of public service as a county commissioner, but that does not mean that you have to turn a blind eye when it becomes clear that she is choosing her political aspirations over the safety of children. I don't know what, if any, role her fundraiser Jenna Worthen may be playing outside of both sitting on the OJA and being a paid staff member of Karen's campaign. But what I do know is that OJA is truly the only authority that can hold the Board of County Commissioners accountable, and they're the only folks who can truly shut down this facility, and they're not doing it. And it's clear, based on public records, that this sitting board member has a financial and political interest in Karen Keith's success in her mayoral campaign. This just goes to show you, someone may have all of the connections and all of the relationships in the world, but if they're not willing to use them for the community, then they are useless, because those are for them and their political aspirations and for their network and for their net worth. If you're not using those relationships for the people who you serve or the people in the community, then why should we care? Why should that be a value proposition to the voters? Because you haven't used them for us yet. So, that's great. I'm glad that, you've been elevated to this position of leadership for nearly 20 years, and you've been able to build such a wide net of relationships. But what good is that doing us right now? I have no trust left. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I am not going to turn a blind eye. I'm not going to believe everything that you say. I'm going to believe what you do. That's going to weigh a lot more heavily in my mind. Show me what you're going to do. I don't want just all the words. We get all the words and all the promises and all the nice thoughts. But people will show you who they are. And I think that she is. And it's just a matter of us listening and being able to convey that with enough people that we can hopefully get some justice for the kids, and also not reward her for prioritizing her political aspirations over the safety of detained children.
Keith did not respond to our request for an interview. Melissa Myers and Representative Lonnie Sims, who are also running to fill the seat vacated by Keith, also did not respond to our interview request. Focus Black Oklahoma has also reached out to James Martin Company and the Oklahoma Ethics Commission, who have not responded as of the filing of this story. For now, Tulsa County has ultimate authority over the Juvenile Justice Facility and hired David Parker to run its day-to-day operation. Oklahoma Appleseed reported that Mr. Parker acknowledges he has no previous experience managing a juvenile facility. The organization also reported that Commissioner Keith, quote, expressed the need to change the management structure before July 31st, or the facility would lose its license, end quote. The FCJJ continues to operate today in a status of technically being in good standing with the OJA, while under an ongoing federal investigation. Thanks for joining us on Focus Black Oklahoma.
Focus Black Oklahoma is produced in partnership with KOSU Radio and Tri-City Collective. Additional support is provided by the Commemoration Fund. Our theme music is by Moffett Music. Focus Black Oklahoma's executive producers are Quraish Ali Lantana and Bracken Clark. Our associate producers are Smriti Iyengar and Jesse Ulrich. You can visit us online at kosu.org or focusblackoklahoma.com and on YouTube at Tri-City Collective. You can follow us on Instagram at FocusBlackOK and on Facebook at facebook.com/FocusBlackOK. You can hear Focus Black Oklahoma on demand for free at kosu.org, the NPR app, npr.org, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's going on in your city?
Geez, oh, Petey's.